Okay, let's talk about the nonprofit world, because right now it is going through a massive shift. I mean, donor habits are changing, new technology is basically rewriting all the rules, and the very ground under philanthropy is moving. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the key forces that are shaping everything.
So, to really get a sense of the scale here, you have to start with this number. In 2024, global charitable giving hit an absolutely incredible $2.3 trillion. That is a massive amount of generosity flowing through the system, mostly from individuals. But that number, well, it hides a much more complicated story. And that's where we hit the central paradox facing the entire sector. While the total dollar amount is at a record high, and that's mostly driven by high net worth households, the actual number of people giving is shrinking. So what on earth does that mean for the future of nonprofits? Well, it means the sector is truly at a crossroads. This tension, right, between the high value of gifts and lower participation, it's forcing every single nonprofit to completely rethink how it connects with supporters and how it's going to build a sustainable future. So, if we're going to solve this paradox, we've got to get inside the minds of today's donors, their behaviors, their motivations, what they expect from you. Those are the real drivers of change in this sector right now. And let's kick this off with a number that's, well, it's pretty tough to swallow. According to the Fundraising Effectiveness Project, only 19% of first-time donors in 2024 gave a second time. This is what we call the leaky bucket problem. Nonprofits are working so incredibly hard to bring new people in the door, but they're losing them almost as fast. The billion-dollar question is, how do you fix the leak? So what's the answer? Well, according to expert Claire Axelrad, it's not some complicated new tech or a super complex strategy. It's actually about human connection. That first interaction you have after someone gives a gift, it is everything. It has to be immediate, it has to feel personal, and it has to show that donor the impact they just made right away. And while all this is happening, there's this huge demographic shift bubbling just under the surface. So get this, while participation among affluent households has dropped 10 points since 2015, millennial giving has surged by 22%. A whole new generation is stepping up. And you know what? They're becoming absolutely central to fundraising. And when you look at the next generation, Gen Z, wow, they are influenced in a completely different way. For them, trust isn't automatically given to some big institution. It's earned by individuals. An incredible 61% say they're more likely to give if a creator they follow on social media is involved. I mean, this is a fundamental power shift, away from the traditional gatekeepers and toward trusted online voices. Okay, so you've got all these crazy fast changes happening with donors on the outside, and that is putting some serious pressure on nonprofits on the inside. This has created what's known as the capacity gap, and that's the growing space between what organizations need to do and what they can actually accomplish. And a huge piece of that puzzle is staffing. More than half of nonprofit leaders say they just can't offer competitive pay. Now, this isn't just an HR issue. It directly impacts a nonprofit's ability to hire the talent they need to modernize, to innovate, and to connect with these new donor audiences we've been talking about. You can really see this capacity gap in action when you look at digital fundraising. I mean, it dominates the conversation, but the reality on the ground is really uneven. Only 19% of nonprofits raise more than half their revenue online, and a pretty surprising 11% raise nothing at all through digital channels. And that gap gets even wider. I mean, way wider. When we start talking about new tech like artificial intelligence, larger organizations are adopting AI at nearly double the rate of smaller ones. And that creates a technology divide that could leave a lot of smaller but still vital organizations way behind. So with all these internal gaps, how can a nonprofit possibly start to close them? Well, fundraiser Richard Perry argues it all starts with something surprisingly simple: clarity. He suggests that a lot of fundraisers can't actually spell out the true cost of their programs. So by breaking down the work into categories, calculating the real cost, and then building donor asks around that data, you create this direct, transparent line between a donation and its impact. All right, this all brings us to our final section. How do you actually navigate this new reality? What are some concrete strategies that organizations can use to adapt and, really grow in this changing landscape? First up, we have to wrap our heads around a concept that is totally flipping digital marketing on its head: zero-click content. With tools like Google's AI overviews, people can get answers about your mission, your work, and your impact without ever even visiting your website. Think about that. Your homepage is no longer the front door. So the big question is, how do you possibly thrive in a world like that? You have to meet people where they already are. That means optimizing your content for platforms like Google and YouTube so that you become the answer. It means using clear, one-line messages that can be easily pulled into a search result. And critically, it means doubling down on the direct channels you do control, like your email list and your SMS contacts.
When you put it all together, what we're really talking about here is a massive shift in strategy. The focus is moving away from broad, generic appeals and toward hyper-personalization. It's moving from chasing website traffic to creating zero-click impact. And it's shifting from just asking for one-time gifts to actually building a genuine community around your mission.
And all of this, it leads to one last big question. With all this talk about AI and new platforms and shifting demographics, have we maybe overcomplicated things? Could the key to the future actually be something much, much more fundamental?
And really, that's the heart of the matter, isn't it? Technology and data, they're just tools. They aren't the goal. As digital marketer Joe Fry reminds us, generosity starts with an emotional connection. In a world of infinite distraction and complexity, the most powerful strategy of all might just be the simplest one: building authentic human relationships.